Beyonce for sure. I love her. Like, I love Beyonce. Jay-Z too, I really admire the both of them.
What's confusing is all of those things that you just said are also included in the racketeering count.
So we don't know what the vote is.
So we don't know what the vote is. It's hard to read what they...
It was supposed to be another glittering night in New York City, the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards afterparty, where every A-lister who mattered swirled through velvet-roped rooms, bubbly flutes in hand, and secrets tucked neatly behind rehearsed smiles. But somewhere between the flashing cameras and the whispered guest lists, an encounter allegedly unfolded that would remain hidden for nearly a quarter of a century. Until now.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
In court filings that have rocked the entertainment world, an anonymous accuser says she was just 13 when a limousine driver promised her a glimpse of that rarefied celebrity world, telling her she fit what Diddy was looking for. From there, the story spirals into chilling territory. An NDA she claims she thought was a routine entry form, a drink that made the room tilt, and then, behind a closed door, both Sean Diddy Combs and Sean Jay-Z Carter stepping inside. The allegations sketch a grim tableau, one man watching, the other taking action, a famous female face present but silent, and a frantic escape that ended at a gas station phone booth. Jay-Z has blasted the accusations as stupid, insisting this is nothing more than a blackmail play by attorney Tony Busby. In his version, a demand letter was simply an extortion attempt, designed to exploit the nature of the claim and force a settlement. No, sir, it had the opposite effect, he declared publicly, vowing to expose the other side rather than hand over one red penny. But Busby has hit back just as hard, calling the extortion claim a smokescreen and saying his client never asked for money at all. For those of us watching, it's an extraordinary clash, not just between accuser and accused, but between two versions of reality that can't exist in the same space. On one side, the image of the billionaire mogul, a man who's built an empire on business acumen and public polish. On the other, a shadow of alleged predation tied to one of the most notorious names in music.
Beyonce.
Gorgeous, a stab to my self-esteem.
The optics have only amplified the tension. Just days after his name was officially added to the lawsuit, Jay-Z appeared on the red carpet at the LA premiere of Mufasa, The Lion King, standing arm in arm with Beyonce and their daughter Blue Ivy. To casual observers, it was a family united. To social media, it was a provocation. A man accused of one of the darkest acts imaginable strolling into the spotlight as though nothing had happened. That was all the opening 50 Cent needed. The longtime rival took aim with a post that dripped with mockery, writing, "Jay said they said I a kid. Everybody get dressed, we going to see Mufasa. LOL," before quickly deleting it. It was just the latest in a series of barbed jabs from 50, who has been relentlessly trolling both Jay-Z and Diddy as the legal noose tightens.
There's different things that's not really beef though. That's just competitive.
Competitiveness.
All right. So you and Diddy, you and Puff cool?
No, I don't really rock with him.
Okay,
like that.
damn. All right.
And there's context here. The two moguls named in this lawsuit have been linked for decades. Early collaborations, parallel rises in the 1,990th New York rap scene, appearances in each other's music, and overlapping business empires. But Diddy's empire has been crumbling under the weight of a cascade of allegations. Trafficking, coercion, violent encounters, and a string of lawsuits from women and men describing elaborate freak-off parties with all the disturbing trappings you'd expect from whispered industry legend. He is now behind bars, denied bail, accused of running a criminal enterprise. Jay-Z, by contrast, has kept his record, at least officially, clean, which is why this sudden collision of his name with the darkest chapter of Diddy's saga feels like an earthquake in the culture. There's another layer of discomfort in the way old rumors have been dusted off and dragged into the present. Industry veterans remember the mid-2000s moment when a teenage Rihanna arrived in New York fresh from Barbados and signed to Def Jam. She was just 15, barely out of school uniforms, suddenly sitting across the table from Jay-Z, then the label's president, in closed-door meetings that ran late into the night. Those around her at the time have whispered about the pressure, the closeness, the lines that may have blurred. Nothing on paper, no legal action, but the suggestion of a dark side to mentorship that now reads differently in light of these fresh accusations. The narrative begins to form a disturbing pattern: young, vulnerable newcomers in proximity to immense power, with very little protection against it.
Jay-Z got his ass whooped by his sister-in-law on camera. What's her name? Solange. You got his ass. The feds ain't step in and do nothing. The feds don't care about you getting your ass whooped.
Beyonce, for her part, is said to be determined to meet the storm head-on. Sources close to the couple describe her working with crisis managers, insisting they not hide from the cameras or the questions. Blue Ivy, according to these insiders, understands enough to know her father is in the headlines for all the wrong reasons and is standing publicly beside him in solidarity. But privately, whispers claim the strain is beginning to crack the Carter Fortress. One insider paints a picture of late-night arguments, contingency plans, and a looming possibility no fan ever thought plausible: a quiet, calculated separation, a silent divorce, executed with the same precision they've applied to every brand move of their careers.
How do you know I'm not a gangster? Or used to be a gangster? I've been in the music industry for 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, the industry's filled with gangsters.
It's a scenario that feels almost unthinkable given their shared billion-dollar empire, music catalogs, business ventures, real estate, and the cultural currency of being America's reigning music couple. Yet the question hangs in the air: how much turbulence can even the strongest brands survive before the foundation gives way? The lawsuits, the old whispers, the relentless jabs from rivals, they're not isolated storms. They're fronts on a gathering hurricane. And as more people from the early days of the hip-hop elite feel emboldened to speak, the sense grows that we're only seeing the surface. Behind it, perhaps, are darker truths, still waiting for their turn in the light.
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their brand.
And now, the whispers are getting louder about a so-called blackmail web, a murky network of leverage and silence that could explain why some of the most powerful names in music have managed to glide above scandal for decades. Multiple insiders claim that Diddy kept a vault, both literal and digital, filled with recordings. Grainy footage from penthouse gatherings, high-definition clips from luxury suites, phone calls captured without consent. We're talking about moments no publicist could spin and no brand deal could survive. The theory goes that these were not souvenirs but bargaining chips, a private arsenal used to keep certain allies close and certain rivals in line. If that's true, then what's on those tapes? Did they catch Jay-Z in compromising company? Or perhaps in conversations that, if played in court, could implode his carefully manicured image? We can only imagine the level of control such material could offer, especially in an industry where loyalty often has a price tag. Federal investigators have already hauled away servers, hard drives, and an inventory of devices from Diddy's seized properties. We know the FBI is combing through years of encrypted data, and when we consider that many of the people who partied in those rooms went on to become titans in entertainment, sports, and even politics, the scope starts to feel enormous. This isn't just about one man's alleged misconduct. It's about whether an entire slice of the celebrity elite has been held hostage by fear of exposure.
He is a serial woman abuser, the likes of which we haven't seen in modern America, at least not on the public stage in this way. He is a repeated serial abuser. He beat those women to a pulp and didn't even deny it. He didn't deny it. They admitted expressly domestic abuse over and over and over again, something the judge used against them when they pled for.
There were even mutterings from former staffers that certain people would get sudden late-night calls from blocked numbers, reminding them, in vague but icy terms, of nights they wouldn't want relived. If such tactics really were at play, it's no wonder some reputations have seemed bulletproof, no matter what surfaced in the press. And in the middle of this growing storm, 50 Cent is acting less like a sideline heckler and more like a man on a mission. He's been poking the bear for years, hinting at knowledge no one else will put in print. This is someone who has openly mocked both Jay-Z and Diddy since the early 2000s, but lately his jabs feel calculated, almost like breadcrumbs. When he posted that AI-generated arrest video, showing both men being escorted out of a glittering event by uniformed officers set to the beat of Sound of the Police. It wasn't just trolling. It was performance art with a message. He deleted it, sure, but not before it racked up views and fueled speculation that he might have seen or heard things the rest of us haven't.
This guy,
50's not to be
no, don't
50's to be
with Fifth. Y'all don't even, Fifth
play
is
around
different.
if you want to.
Fifth is different.
And he's on tour.
Look at the pattern. He jokes about Super Bowl shows being canceled. He alludes to tapes, to parties he refuses to attend because, in his words, you don't understand about these parties. When the mansion raids happened, he pounced within hours, posting screenshots and writing captions like, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done," and hinting that they don't come like that unless they got a case. This isn't random social media banter. It's the drumbeat of someone who seems to know the rhythm of the investigation before the public hears it. Could it be that 50 has his own sources inside the process? Maybe even people who once worked for the men now under scrutiny? Or is he just a master provocateur riding the biggest scandal in hip-hop for all it's worth?
Beyonce and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
For Beyonce, the situation is said to be far more than a headline management exercise. Those close to the family describe a constant undercurrent of tension, with her balancing global commitments while privately navigating an emotional minefield. The relentless swirl of allegations has reportedly left her in a state of hypervigilance, aware that any wrong step or poorly timed public comment could trigger a fresh wave of scrutiny. This is a woman who has built an entire brand on control over image, message, and narrative, now forced to live with the knowledge that her husband's name is being linked to one of the ugliest scandals in modern music history. Blue Ivy, meanwhile, has been pulled into the frame in ways few could have anticipated. What might have once been occasional, carefully curated public appearances have now transformed into a steady role as the visual embodiment of family unity. Each red carpet walk, each close-up of her holding her parents' hands, is analyzed for signs of strain or rehearsed perfection. While some interpret her presence as proof of unshaken bonds, others suspect it's a calculated move by seasoned crisis managers to project an image of solidarity powerful enough to withstand the storm.
They needed to show that there was an agreement, that the organization knew what it was doing, that it was an enterprise, not in law, but in fact, that people understood the object of the enterprise, which was to promote Sean Combs and his brands and sort of fulfill any deviant desires he may have had, and then to cover up any crimes committed over the course of fulfilling those desires.
The optics are undeniably potent. Every photo of the three together becomes a counterpoint to the swirling accusations, a silent rebuttal suggesting stability and strength. But the question that lingers is whether these appearances are moments of genuine connection or part of a strategic narrative designed to sway public perception. Insiders whisper that every outing is choreographed to the smallest detail, from the choice of venue to the body language cues captured by photographers, all with the aim of reinforcing the Carter brand's resilience. Behind the scenes, the toll on Beyonce's marriage is rumored to be growing heavier. Partners in both life and business, she and Jay-Z have spent years intertwining their fortunes, their art, and their public personas. Now, those same bonds could be a source of suffocating pressure, making it nearly impossible to separate private emotions from public obligations. In this climate, trust can erode quietly, not through explosive arguments, but through the slow, grinding weight of constant crisis. For Blue Ivy, the experience may be shaping her understanding of fame in ways most adults will never grasp. Watching her parents navigate an unforgiving media landscape, she's learning early that celebrity is as much about perception management as it is about talent. Whether she emerges from this period with a hardened resilience or lingering scars will depend on what the public never sees. The unguarded moments at home, away from the stage smiles and flawless lighting. In the end, those unseen realities may hold the truest measure of how deeply this scandal has cut into the Carter household.
After they are done with Diddy, Jay-Z is up next to be exposed, right?
Some in the industry suspect he's positioning himself for the long game. His Netflix documentary, provocatively titled Diddy Do It, is already in production, promising authentic and nuanced perspectives while dangling the allure of never-before-seen accounts. If he delivers what he's teasing, that project could become the definitive public record of this era, and in the process, potentially detonate careers. It's not lost on anyone that Jay-Z's name has now been dragged into the narrative 50's been building for months. The coincidence feels a little too convenient. And when we remember that 50 has promised proceeds from his doc will go to alleged victims, it adds another layer of intent. He's not just throwing shade, he's framing himself as a truth teller, maybe even an avenger. But what if the most explosive revelations haven't even surfaced yet? The FBI's raids yielded a staggering haul, reports of over 1,000 bottles of party supplies, documents tied to offshore accounts, and devices that may hold years of encrypted messages between some of the biggest figures in entertainment. If even a fraction of that connects dots between Diddy, Jay-Z, and other untouchables, we could be looking at a reckoning that reshapes not just careers, but the culture itself. Imagine the fallout if those alleged recordings confirm whispered alliances, cover-ups, or payments meant to bury stories before they could reach the front page. The pressure is building from every angle. Legal teams are moving fast, witnesses are suddenly harder to reach, and the gossip mill is running on overdrive. Every new filing, every leaked snippet of testimony sends social media into overdrive. And in that noise, we keep circling back to the same questions. If this much has come out in just a few months, what's been kept hidden for 20 years? Who else knew? Who else helped keep it quiet? And how far up does the chain of protection go?
Still say allegedly, has done things and allegedly participated in a lot of things that the public would not be happy to know.
or watching a drama where the players have spent decades mastering control over their image, their business, their narrative, and now that control is slipping. Every public appearance is scrutinized, every old photo re-examined, every offhand comment reinterpreted as a clue. The fear for them is that once the dam breaks, you can't choose which secrets spill out. And for the rest of us, the intrigue is in wondering whether the men who built empires on influence and mystique can survive without the shadows they've always operated in. Because if the worst suspicions are true, if those files and recordings are as damning as insiders claim, then we're not just talking about personal scandals. We're talking about the collapse of a carefully constructed power network, the kind of network that has shaped award shows, record deals, festival lineups, and political fundraisers. Pull one thread and the whole thing could unravel in ways we haven't even imagined yet. And if that happens, it won't just be names and fortunes on the line. It could be the end of an era. So here's the question we can't ignore. Are we already witnessing the fall of a billionaire dynasty, or is this just the opening act before the truly devastating truths hit the light? Drop your thoughts below, because when the next wave hits, we'll be right here to break it down with you. Until then, stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, the biggest scandals never start in the headlines.